This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. It is not intended to cause or induce breach of an existing agency agreement.
Hello? 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 This is the Vancouver
Commercial
Real Estate Podcast.
And welcome back to the Vancouver Commercial Real Estate Podcast. I'm Cory Wright.
And I'm Melisa Moretti.
And Melisa, on the program today, we've got the one and only Stathis Savvis, who's joining us from our William Wright Commercial New West, soon-to-be Tri-Cities office. And Savvy is one of the original people of the company. I think he was employee number 5 when we talked about it, right? So he's been worked together for a long period of time. He's an outstanding guy. And on today's program, we're covering Maple Ridge, which is we've always been very bullish on as a company. We've done a lot of work out in the Maple Ridge area, both on the leasing and the sales side, Savvy especially. So we wanted to pick Savvy's brain, have him come on and tell us all why Maple Ridge is such a good market, because there's some massive developments going on out there and some massive opportunities. Savvy help unwinds that a little bit. And
he's very savvy.
He's very savvy, very savvy. If there was a button I could push for like a right now, that
was it.
That was it. Yeah. So we had the mic drop opportunity, which Savvy will talk about, and then we had your comedic.
That's right. It's a good episode.
It's a great episode. Savvy did a great job. No, we're so pleased to have him come on. What's going on in your world? You're talking about how all of a sudden Vancouver gets sunny.
Yeah.
Everyone's out and about.
It's like Vancouver turned the lights on and everybody realized why they live here.
Oh, it's such a beautiful
all weekend.
city.
It was absolutely beautiful all weekend.
So now does that mean more like the residential buyers are out looking at open houses now?
Yeah, for sure.
Busy market?
I mean, it's definitely picking up. Absolutely. Yeah. My phone in the last week has been busier than it has been in probably at least 8 months.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
It's a good sign. Spring market's here.
Yeah. Spring market's here. Sun's out.
You don't realize this, but maybe last week or the week before, I had a night where I couldn't sleep. Those nights where you're just tossing and turning, you just can't sleep. And I would say it's your fault. I couldn't sleep. And we were talking when we weren't recording about a show you watch on Netflix called Love is Blind. So I'm sitting there flicking around, can't find a show. So I started Love is Blind season 6. I've never seen the show before, so I'm only experiencing it through you.
You know they're coming to Vancouver.
Oh no. And I got about 2 or 3 episodes in, and then I couldn't turn it off.
Oh, that's the problem.
So I was like tossing and turning, and then I'm like lying in bed watching it at like 3 a.m. on like a Tuesday. To find out what happens and if they're going to like actually like each other when they see each other for the first time. So I'd like to thank you for that sleepless night. And I had a day the next day, not enough coffee could keep my eyes open.
You know what? It's a good way
all
to
because Love is Blind 6.
That's right. It's a good way to turn off your brain. You work hard.
Oh yeah. I lost brain cells watching it.
Well, you can't keep them all.
But I do appreciate Love is Blind season 6. But they're coming to Vancouver.
Yes.
Is that something that you're thinking of applying for?
Absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not.
No, hard no.
You'll watch the show, but
not unless
won't.
They come running after me.
So they come to you for the Love is Blind.
Probably still a hard no.
Season 7 or season 8?
No.
It's a no?
I think not.
All right. Well, we won't put the application in for you then. Is that just because looks just mean a lot to you? Is that why you won't give the show a chance?
I think we need a spin-off show just to talk about that.
What about your love life or about Love is Blind season 6?
A little bit of both.
There you go. A little bit of both.
We're not on the right show for that.
Yeah, that's forthcoming. That's going to be the sister show to the sister show.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Okay. Without further ado, let's get to our interview today with Stathis Savvis of our William Wright Commercial New West, soon to be Coquitlam office, talking all about Maple Ridge.
All right, let's go.
Enjoy. This podcast is presented by Impact Commercial.
Impact Commercial, John, Alan, the team over there are fantastic. They've all been on the show.
They have, yeah.
Friends of the show.
Great guys.
Wealth of experience. They can help with all your commercial financing needs.
Whether it's owner-occupiers, land development funds, commercial investments, or multifamily, these guys got you covered.
And they recently obtained their CMHC correspondent lender status.
So for all your commercial lending needs, visit them at impactcommercial.ca.
That's impactcommercial.ca.
All right, we're here today with Stathis Savvis of our William Wright Commercial New West, soon to be Tri-Cities office. Savvy, how you doing today?
I'm great, Cory. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to cover this topic. We've been wanting to cover this for a while, so I know we appreciate you coming to join us to cover it. But before we get into it, can you maybe tell our listeners more about yourself and how you ended up in commercial real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Vancouver, grew up in North Burnaby, played a lot of sports in the North Burnaby area, but I always went to school in Coquitlam, and my father had restaurants in East Van, Port Moody, and Port Coquitlam. So I was kind of all over the place. I don't really have one neighborhood that I grew up in, and that's actually helped me through my commercial career. And what led me into it is my dad was a bit of an investor himself, or my parents, I should say. I started learning kind of the ropes at a young age and realized that I enjoyed real estate. Didn't get into it right away, started working, making money, and started my own kind of investment journey when I was 19, bought my first place. From there, obviously, I've been upgrading and transitioning my portfolio into mostly commercial now. But after I was finished making money, I realized, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Went and took the real estate exam, started off actually in residential real estate, and came across a commercial deal, really enjoyed the commercial, started searching companies, found an ad for William Wright. Then, as you know, came and interviewed with you, and the rest is history. I'm happy to be here. I've gained a wealth of knowledge with being with William Wright Commercial and from yourself, Cory, and very appreciative for the opportunities that have come my way.
Well, we're thrilled to have you as part of the team. Obviously, you were one of the original ones we had from way back when. When you started, Sav, how many, was there 5 of us?
There was 5. I was the 5th guy. Yeah,
there you go.
I was the 5th guy, one office. Great times.
One office, no windows. We had a skylight. We had a skylight, though. No windows, but we had a skylight.
Yeah, a couple good skylights, you know, burn your head in the middle of the summer, but it was great.
Yeah, and we had no kitchen up until about the end of the first year because we don't think we could afford to put a kitchen in. So when we made some money, we actually installed a kitchen in the boardroom because we had nowhere else to put it. So it's all part of the story of getting from point A to point B so far as where we're at. But Savvy, we wanted to cover today one of the lower mainland markets that we all really like at William Wright Commercial for commercial real estate is Maple Ridge. And I know it's a market we haven't really talked a lot about on the program before, but over the years, we've had a lot of investors invest in Maple Ridge. We've had a lot of people have been very successful in all asset classes there. And Maple Ridge is a market, Sav, that you've done a lot of work in very successfully, both on the leasing and the sales side. So we wanted to drag you in today to talk about Maple Ridge and why we think it's a great investment market, not just for 2024, but onwards. Sav, can you give us a little bit of information, just maybe on a high level there? Why Maple Ridge? Why is Maple Ridge a good market?
Maple Ridge, I mean, why I like Maple Ridge, and I feel like people are starting to kind of take notice to Maple Ridge, is A, you're not having to cross over like the golden years or Alex Fraser and whatnot. You're kind of still on this side of the bridge, I like to say. Secondly, the barrier to entry in Maple Ridge is a lot lower for a really nice product. So I feel like now Coquitlam and Port Coquitlam have kind of become higher end or more expensive in the single family home market. And so I kind of look at Maple Ridge as being, growing up, Port Coquitlam was kind of too far for people and like a farm town. And then Maple Ridge kind of got labeled that. But now it's kind of coming out of that and blossoming into this like vibrant city. You know, you got great shops, you got great businesses that are opening up in there. You can find everything you need within close vicinity of Maple Ridge. And it's actually quite a large city in terms of the area and land. And so you're seeing a lot of pockets develop there, like Silver Valley, you got the Albion Flats, you got all the redevelopment happening in downtown Maple Ridge, you got the West Coast Express there, which is a huge factor for people wanting to move out there because you can still work downtown and have a fairly easy and relaxing commute on the West Coast Express. And then you got kind of the Kanaka Creek, Webster's Corner area that's starting to develop and take shape and a lot of development happening. So with all that in different pockets, you're getting a lot of housing and development happening at more affordable prices that you're going to find kind of in the Port Coquitlam and West markets. And so I think Maple Ridge is great. It was actually, in my career, it was the second place that I invested way back when, over 15 years ago. And I still think there's a huge runway to go in Maple Ridge.
One thing you touched base there on a little bit was the downtown redevelopment. And that's one area I think Maple Ridge for years not so much now, but maybe going back years ago, was always the struggle with Maple Ridge. It didn't really feel like it was really pro-development. And obviously that's changed over the past decade now with some tremendous developments, both on Dewdney Trunk Road side and also the Haney Place Mall. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that downtown core? Because I know that's one area that's been going through a lot of transition for the good, and a lot of development applications and developers are now buying into that downtown market. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of those recent developments there?
Absolutely. So one of the largest and most notable that I'll just mention right off the bat is a combined development with a Switzerland company called Swiss Real and actually the Johnston Mayors Group. It's a 7-acre master plan community, and it's a 7-phase development, which means it's going to occur, of course, in 7 separate phases. You're already seeing the first phase basically completed and starting to lease out. I believe people are moving in. That's closer to 224th Street. And essentially this redevelopment is revitalizing that entire area where you generally saw 1 to 2 story kind of commercial with maybe a little office or maybe a couple suites upstairs that people could rent. And it's turning into, your low density kind of low rises. And there's a few kind of medium density mid rises that are going to be developed later on in different phases. And so with this 7-phase development, that's kind of creating the new look for Maple Ridge. And it's showing that Maple Ridge is pro-development. And just to slide in there, as we all know, when you look at shopping centers around the Lower Mainland, what's happening to all the shopping centers? All of them are being turned into higher density transit hubs where people are able to work, live, everything within walking distance of where they're residing. And so you're really starting to see that take shape in that development, as it is one of the more larger, most notable developments that's underway right now in Maple Ridge.
Well, I know one other one there that maybe we'll talk about as well, or bring up slightly, was the one there that I know Laval Developments had purchased the Haney Place Mall project there from Smart Center. I think it was a couple of years ago. And I know just from what I've heard and kind of seeing is it does sound like that they are going through either, and again, I don't know how it's going to look, but I think it's 6 towers or 8 towers type of thing that's planned for that site there. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that one? Because that's kind of like right center ice in downtown and almost connects the Lougheed Highway to Dewdney Trunk Road along 224th there. What is the plan with that one? Or are you aware of that massive development as well?
Yeah, so kind of like how we brushed off on the what's happening around all shopping centers around the Lower Mainland is they're planning on densifying that area. And like you're saying, there's a lot of parking and parking space there. And what they're going to do is they're going to basically use some of the parking like they've done in Brentwood, and you're going to start seeing in Coquitlam Center and whatnot. And they're going to build higher density developments there so that it's going to alleviate traffic, hoping that most people aren't going to need their cars. They're going to be taking their West Coast Express to work. They're going to be living right in the vicinity where everything they need is within walking distance. And not only that, they have the West Coast Express there. And so you're still able, like I was saying earlier, you're still able to work and maintain your job and your career if you're in a downtown setting while living nestled in kind of more nature and adventurous area like Maple Ridge, for example.
And one thing too is you talked a little bit at the start there about like the Webster's Corner area, and that's an area for those who know Maple Ridge, kind of like, maybe I'm wrong, Sav, like Dewdney Trunk 240th area type of thing and beyond. Can you talk about the development of that area? Because I know it's one area from like an industrial standpoint that seems like it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts at around 240th, goes to about right now where you're seeing development up to about 256. On both like the north and south side of Dewdney Trunk. So if you're going to the south side of Dewdney Trunk, that's where you're going to see more residential development occurring in the Webster's Corner area. But if you go to the northern side of Webster's Corner, that's where you're going to see a lot of industrial happening. And predominantly, actually, people may not have known, it was kind of like a big movie set kind of warehouse, and they would have cars, they would have movie set stuff. It was kind of dedicated to that, but now you're seeing big industrial going in there. You're actually seeing a new product that there's still some zoning amendments that need to be done, but you're seeing kind of like work-live units being built out there as well, where you got industrial on the bottom, you got units above. We actually have one listed there as well right now at 12835 Lily Drive. And so that kind of area around Lily Drive is where you're seeing predominantly all the industrial developments occurring. which is right next to Silver Valley, which again is another north part of Dewdney Trunk, where you're going to see more of the residential occurring. But a little bit closer to Dewdney Trunk, there's plans for employment in like light industrial. It's called the Yanodin, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, area. And so all around, you're seeing these kind of major developments where they're trying to inject commercial, industrial, as well as housing, which then also leads to more transit. And so I was fortunate enough to have a friend that was meeting with the mayor of Maple Ridge, and we got some insight. They're really pushing to bring transit, like Beeline buses, which are buses that kind of connect you to high transit areas, as well as more transit going into the northern part of Maple Ridge, leading into like Alouette, for example. Because right now there is a bit of congestion due to the development. And so the city is looking at increasing, roadways, transit, and just making it easier and more flexible for people to move around.
Speaking of transit, I've heard a lot about the Haney Transit Village. Can you speak a little bit more about that and what's going on with that development?
Absolutely. So in and around that area, that's where like the Port of Haney is called, where you have the West Coast Express station. And so because the West Coast Express station is right there, they're really trying to promote higher density living in that area. And then right above there is Lougheed Mall, right above the West Coast. That's where they're planning on putting the Beeline. And that's a major bus route where it stops at only certain bus stops. So it's more of like an express service. And generally, where you see a Beeline eventually could be a SkyTrain. Now, I'm not saying the SkyTrain is planned for Maple Ridge yet, but I'm just saying that is the idea of it, is they want more rapid transit in and around that kind of Haney Transit Village and Lougheed area, which connects directly into the 224th development and Haney Place Mall area that we were discussing a little bit earlier on the call.
So you've heard it here first. Breaking news. Savvy guarantees SkyTrain in Maple Ridge.
100% guarantee within 100 years.
Sav, one thing obviously that kind of made news earlier this year was a massive battery plant being put into Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows area, or the expansion of. Justin Trudeau was there for the big presser. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that and the impacts that may or may not have on the commercial real estate market?
Absolutely. So the first thing that this is going to create is jobs, of course. I believe for the build out, they're going to be employing 500 to 1,000 people, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But in the end, what the new battery plant, I believe it's going to be up to like 300 employees potentially. Of course, they're not going to know until everything's fully built out and what jobs they're going to have. But what this also shows, though, is that Maple Ridge is willing to establish themselves kind of as a technology and innovation hub, but also pro-business. One thing that Maple Ridge does need more of is they do need more major industry and business. Reason being is when you have more businesses and industrial commercial properties paying taxes, it helps alleviate that tax burden on the housing and residential side. And so I think this just shows that Maple Ridge is willing to work with any industry for that matter in order to attract, new businesses and new large companies.
Sav, one thing you've talked, sort of made points about periodically, was industrial. And we obviously know the industrial markets have had a tremendous run over the past decade. And it feels like maybe there's a little bit of softening in that area just with developments and obviously the cost to acquire the real estate. What's your thoughts of, say, like the industrial market in the Maple Ridge area in particular?
I think there is very minimal. So when you look at Maple Ridge, and when I'm saying minimal in terms of industrial, of course you have like the heavy duty, big industrial along Fraser River. But when we're talking about industrial here, we're meaning like smaller bay, anything from 1,500 up to say 20, 30,000 square feet of space. And so there is only limited pockets kind of right off the Golden Ears Bridge, Stewart Crescent area where you're going to find industrial. Then you got to go basically all the way out to almost Webster's Corner in order to find more actual traditional like small bay industrial. And so that's where, when we highlighted the Webster's Corner, you're seeing a lot of that occurring out there. And there isn't a lot of inventory. Like all industrial, even though it's softened a bit, we have to remember that it also went on a very huge run in terms of prices per square foot, as well as lease rates. And so although it's softened a little bit, I do believe that in the future, when demand kicks up again and we've kind of taken a hold of the inflation and interest rates come down, I do believe you're going to see a surge of businesses moving out into Maple Ridge. Kind of like, again, I'll just highlight Port Coquitlam. Port Coquitlam was kind of a far away area. If you look back 10 years ago, you were able to purchase industrial at a huge discount compared to what you could have purchased, say, in Vancouver. But now, as larger companies are moving into that POCO area, it's pushing kind of smaller companies out into the Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge markets, which already has a limited supply as it is.
Can you maybe speak to the investment side of the Maple Ridge market? Obviously, like there's not a lot of product out there. It's easily one of the faster growing communities down here in the Lower Mainland, it sounds like. If I'm an investor looking to get into that marketplace, what type of cap rates could I expect when I'm looking at, say, investment product in Maple Ridge? Any asset class is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now in today's market, you're probably looking at anywhere from a 4 to 5% cap rate. Of course, there's a lot of things depending, the size, the price, the tenant mix, and whatnot. But you're generally going to see that type of cap rate in the Maple Ridge area. But what you're also going to see is a bit lower of a price point. And I'll give you an example. You're able to buy, say, a 4 to 6 unit that has some retail, maybe has a little bit of a basement and a second floor office in Maple Ridge, still today for between $2 and $3 million, where that same property in Vancouver, you're looking at $5 to $10 million. And so we actually have a listing right now on right on Lougheed Highway, actually kind of right beside the Haney Place Mall for sale. And we're getting a lot of calls on it due to the fact of the 4.4% cap rate roughly is what it's gone out to market with, but the tenant mix. And so we have international tenants. We have tenants that have been there 20 plus years. And then the upstairs, we have fully leased out to all professionals like lawyers, counselors, doctors, etc. And so you're able to find basically asset classes that maybe are at a little bit sharper of a price point, maybe allowing a little bit more people to enter into the market. But with the runway that we're talking about today, you're going to see that increase down the road as more and more people move into Maple Ridge.
So if money wasn't an option and Savvy was buying an investment property in Maple Ridge, what is Savvy buying today?
I'm buying 22471 Lougheed Highway for sure.
Buying your own listing. It's so good. I got it.
Yeah, but no, in all honesty, I would be buying anywhere within kind of the downtown core of Maple Ridge. As you go and drive through there, you're going to see developments that have already been completed, developments that are happening. And so in that area, I do believe there's a lot of room to grow in the downtown core. Or on top of that, there is also, if you're into like development, there's a lot of land. You can still purchase a decent amount of land in Maple Ridge. And if you're working with someone that understands the market and they're understanding official community plans and neighborhood plans and whatnot, you're still able to purchase something that will get developed down the road, and then you can engage. So for me personally, if I was buying, I'm a commercial guy, I'd be looking for commercial buildings in the downtown core. If you're not fully into the commercial, then looking at something that has a development potential down the road would be my second choice in Maple Ridge.
You've been in the commercial side of the industry, both on the broker and also the investor side for quite some time. We're kind of sitting here where we're at now, middle of March 2024. Rates have held for 6 consecutive periods. Prime is still sitting at approximately 7.2 at the banks. The BOC rate is 5 right now. What's Savvy's thoughts? What's your thoughts on the 2024 commercial real estate market and beyond?
Well, we've already seen more confidence in the market for sure, especially over the last few weeks, to be honest. And things can change, of course, with one announcement. But if we keep trajectorying the way we are, I do believe we will have some sort of rate cut this year. And once that occurs, it's kind of like we were riding a bike up a hill. We've kind of reached the top. We were plateauing. And I don't want to say it's going to be a straight downhill down, but what you're going to see is people are going to be more confident putting in offers. People are going to be more confident having conditions on those offers for a certain period of time in order to complete proper due diligence. And that was what the issue was over the last year and year and a bit, was you could have put an offer in on a property. By the time you're even removing subjects, rates could have gone up. By the time you're closing, rates could have gone up 2 or 3 times. And so when there's that much uncertainty, people aren't wanting to go out there and risk. Whereas now, with everything stabilizing and all the talks of rates decreasing, you're definitely seeing an injection of confidence into the market. And so I do see by the end of 2024, we will be in a much bullish market than we've seen the last year and a half.
So you're saying get in this year because the end of this year is going to be good. What's your thoughts on 2025?
2025, I mean, I think depending on what they do with rates this year, I could see 2025 turning into a very bullish market. Everybody knows what's happening with housing. Everybody knows what's happening with immigration. It's some of the biggest topics in the news for quite a long time. People are going to need places to be housed, or people are going to need places, to live. And then there's also going to be need businesses that need to open to service these people. And so at the end of the day, when you have an influx of immigration, you have a sought-after city, regardless of immigration. You have migration from other parts of Canada. It's Vancouver. I mean, and look at it today and look at it over the weekend. I mean, I was talking to a friend over the weekend. I was like, this is what made Vancouver. You're looking at snow-capped mountains. You're in a t-shirt. You can go golf. You can go swimming. You can go skiing. It's a very unique city. And regardless of what's happening in the market, even during the downturn, it wasn't as expected. It wasn't as large of a downturn as people expected. And I think that highlights the desiredness of Vancouver.
So just to recap here, we've got a guaranteed SkyTrain coming to Maple Ridge.
Lots of jobs.
Lots of jobs coming to Maple Ridge. Savvy's also predicting a soft landing here. So get into the real estate market now in early 2024 before the market really picks up into 2024. 2025 and buy in Maple Ridge next to the guaranteed SkyTrain station coming courtesy of Savvy.
Absolutely. And that's why I love this line. You don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait. And so at the end of the day, we're not playing a stock market. We're not in the casino playing roulette. If you have sound advice and you're investing with certain metrics in place in our market, essentially, it's very hard to lose.
If there was ever an opportunity for a mic drop and walk away on this podcast in the past 2 or 3 years, Savvy just had it right there.
Very well said.
That was good job, Sav. Before we let you go, we got a 6-pack of lighthearted questions so we get to know you a little bit more outside of work. Do you have a few more minutes for us?
Absolutely.
The 6-pack is powered by our good friends over at Red Point Law.
Red Point Law, Cory, Tim, Falco, Scott, and the team. These are great people with a wealth of experience when it comes to commercial closings and private lending. And I just want to say, Cory, not to cut you off, they have a perfect 5-star review on Google.
So for all your commercial legal needs, visit them at redpointlaw.ca with offices in Vancouver and now open in downtown Kelowna. First question up, and I'm excited to know this one because I know you do travel internationally. Sav, favorite vacation spot when you can find the time?
Well, I mean, I'm biased. I'm from the island of Rhodes. My father was born there. I've been going there since I was born. I got all my family there. And so for me, if I'm going to go anywhere, it's got to be the island of Rhodes, or also known as Rhodos in Greece.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Sav goes to Greece all the time and then shows us all these photos when he gets home, and we all just salivate over. We live vicariously through him when we see his photos after his trips.
That sounds amazing. All right, next question. You found yourself on death row. What's your last meal?
So this one's hard because I actually really like food. I'd almost want a full buffet that I could have everything to. But if I actually really had to have my last meal, it would probably be... Honestly, it would be my aunt makes, I don't know if people know what they are, but they're called domades. And so they're grapevine leaves wrapped with beef and rice. And she has a couple of secret ingredients. Mm-hmm. She makes them every time I go there, she has a full pot and I eat 50 of them in one sitting. And so I think if I had to have one last meal, I would want my aunt's domades.
Oh, so good.
I can tell you almost like that one. She just gave me the A-OK sign as you were describing it. So she likes that one. That's a good one. Sav, next question up. Favorite band or musician?
I love all music. I love everything. But to be honest, growing up, and something that I liked his lyrics, and not all of them, but a lot of them, who's very poetic, is the one and only Tupac Shakur.
Oh, Melisa, again with the A-OK sign over here. This is turning into one of her favorite.
I've heard him before. I think it's not a new one. I think I've heard him before.
Yeah, no,
someone else has mentioned him.
No, she likes her rap. 90s rap especially. That's a common thread.
It has to be 90s.
Common thread.
90s, absolutely.
common thread on the Commercial Real Estate Podcast is 90s rap music.
Yeah. I think just real estate in general.
Real estate in general. Yeah. Real estate and rap, hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's a tough gig. You got to have that gangster rap going. So
that's right. All right. Next question. You are drunk at a bar. You're handed a karaoke mic. What are you singing?
Well, I think clearly the listeners.
Or rapping. You could be rapping if you want to.
I think it's known my voice isn't really the most, softest and good for singing. And so I'd probably have to choose like a DMX or a Barry White or something like that, something to complement my voice while I'm singing. So it'd be, depending on where I'm at or who's in the room, it'd be one of those two guys.
That's so brave. I like it.
Melissa, do we get the third AOK sign for that one?
DMX.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, Sav, something you've purchased for $1,500 or less lately that's had a positive impact on your life.
$1,500 or less. You know what? I bought it's kind of a package thing, but I bought new snowboard boots, goggles, and gloves.
Nice.
So I'm back on the mountain this year and went up to Big White. And so that was the last time I was in Big White was like 17 years ago. I broke my ankle, blah, blah, blah. So I came back to conquer it. And I've been having a great time going out and hitting some fresh powder again.
Good purchase.
Yeah.
All right, last question. What is one piece of advice you have for investors in 2024 for the commercial market?
One thing I guess would be, it kind of goes back to that quote that I use is that everybody's always sitting on a sideline and waiting for the right time. And in any economy, in any market, and doesn't just happen in real estate, but you're never going to time everything perfectly. And so just make sure you're getting good advice from people that know what they're doing and have done it before. And don't wait and don't sit down on the sidelines, because when you're sitting idle like a duck in the water, a good deal and good opportunities can blow right by you. And so getting in the game and playing is the best way that I feel.
The two common threads on the Commercial Real Estate Podcast is 90s rap music. And as part of Sav's advice, always make sure you have a professional agent on the commercial side working for you, because so much of the product trades offhand, off market. You don't hear about it, or you get stuff and you can't properly diagnose it. Always have a good commercial agent helping you on that side will always 110% usually yield a better result. Sav, for all of our listeners that want to find out more what you're doing at William Wright Commercial there in New West, soon to be Tri-Cities, how can our listeners find out more and how can they reach you?
They can reach me by email, which is savvy@williamwright.ca. You can find that on our website. And my cell phone as well at 604-897-8974, either or. I'm more than happy to chat with anybody if they have any questions about Maple Ridge, Tri-Cities, Vancouver, Brady, and beyond. And I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast. It was a lot of fun.
Well, it was a great episode, Sav. Thanks for taking the time to join us, and we appreciate it. All the great advice on Maple Ridge.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
all right, Sav. Take care. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. Our interview today with Stathis Savith of William Wright Commercial, New West, soon to be Coquitlam. I thought Savvy is he's a very knowledgeable guy. I've known him for a long time. That was a banger episode there. That
Absolutely.
was great insight on Maple Ridge. Really well done.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, no kidding. We've always been very bullish on Maple Ridge, as I've said a few times on this episode, but he goes and just hits it on all levels there.
Yeah.
I want to go buy in Maple Ridge again.
Absolutely. If I was going to buy anywhere, you know what I really love about Maple Ridge is Golden Ears. It's so close to the mountains, the park there.
Yeah. The only thing we should have asked Savvy, we didn't have a chance to, but I'm sure if someone wants to reach out to him, he'll answer the question for you. The impact, maybe it's positive or negative, on the Golden Ears Bridge coming from Langley into Pitt Meadows up into Maple Ridge. Mm-hmm. What type of impact that's going to have on the market moving forward?
Yeah.
Whether they have him back for a second episode.
Absolutely.
Or we can bring him back after Love is Blind 7 and get his feedback on that, how that episode works.
All right.
And Melissa, for those who do want to sell or buy real estate on the residential side in this beautiful province of ours, which you noted when the lights turn on.
Yes.
What and how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can call me 778-869-4477 or email me at melissa@vancouverrealestatepodcast.com.
And for all those looking for commercial real estate inquiries, you can reach out to us at williamwright.ca. Visit our website, sign up for the latest and greatest news. You can send me an email anytime, Cory@williamwright.ca, or you're welcome to call our Vancouver office, 604-428-5255. Let us know what you're looking for, and we'll put you in touch with the best broker in the province to help you.
All right.
All right.
Great week.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Subscribe today.